Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Welcome back to the canyon. Welcome back to another hot and fresh installation of It Came from the live stream. We kind of had to we have divergent paths. It came from the workbench. It came from the live stream. Yeah, it's all the same workbench, but we tend to condense essentially building a rig. You got pre-prep work and you've got the building of the rig that occurs during the live stream. We got, like, I would honestly say, I would call it 90% through. I had little bits of stuff to finish, a couple little parts to fabricate, some stuff to get set. But all the groundwork was laid during the live stream. So if you don't know what's going on in this episode, this is the Ghost Ride installment of this. If you didn't watch that live stream episode, there will be a link to that live stream in the description. There's a bunch of rambling, but it also pretty much covers the entire build of this. I'm going to try to cover most of the important points of this as we get here. It is indeed fully mobile. Can we get the bumper over? Sure we can. Scarlett. To the point of, like, Shayna M. O'Hara is right in there. Scarlett is right in there. And honestly, not bad. I threw a couple hours at it, maybe because we're developing a depth and breadth of experience. But Scarlett, look, there she is. There she is, right in there. Like she's kind of eyeballing out the side window. Everything was kind of sorted out and figured out just as we went along. I had ideas, some which came from the live stream, some which I sort of developed while fabricating, and unlike many other instances in life and time, I think everything worked. There's a question mark right here. It's invisible, but there's a hovering question mark above that, which is now, as I watch the wheel speed differential with a 38% split between front and rear, I thought that battery would be done. We're going to get a battery beep here in a second. It's the battery for this. That battery's enough to make it move across the bench, but that's about it. Deepwoods, a.k.a. Champs, how are they going to fare up against the might of 38%? Some tires don't like big overdrive. I'll put that out as a disclaimer. Canyon trails are really only good up to a particular number. These have an insert that would go to... Anyway, the tread pattern, honestly, if you look at them long enough, you can definitely see a Deepwoods Canyon Trail parallel, you know, especially if it's a cut one. I said especially if it's a cut one. I mean, the lug shapes aren't exactly the same, but, like, more closer to siblings than cousins, if you know what I mean. And I have distinct recollections of Canyon Trails not doing particularly well on big OD numbers. So we'll be able to tell that right away. 38% is a lot. It is dragging the rear end. But we got to get through that. Trim defenders, indeed, as I said, because it was too far forward, nothing has any kind of finish work on it. It was just, it's done, but it's not finished. It's finished, but it's not done. One or the other. Extended it. It's 15 millimeters back, which I think perfectly lined up the wheels under the wells. We get just the right, like, look at that. Look at that tuck there. It's nice. Piece of Delrin, 2 pieces of aluminum. Just decided to sandwich it on the inside because it comes out to the exact 66 millimeters that they chose for the width on this chassis. And then I said, if we're going to hinge it, we're going to pintle mount it. We're going to single point it in the front. This is I don't think it was an M3 thumb screw, but if you blast a tap through it, it becomes an M3 thumb screw. Headed over the lathe. You know how much we love Delrin. I knew I needed 29 millimeters. Made it 29 millimeters tall. Put a little recess for an O-ring. little rattle remover. And that is one single screw that goes all the way through the body mount. So that's a 40, I think it's a 45 millimeter screw. So hopefully with the size of the base and the way that's all mounted down, it's not going to interfere. It's not going to interfere with durability. I was afraid that if I did a set screw at the top and a screw from the bottom, we could flippity flop. If we bend this, we've got multiple holes in this. I could also just remake this piece. Anyway, it's not a problem. Stood the front shocks up straighter because I couldn't get the tires out of the fender wells. And I said that the test was going to run pretty much how it was built. So I didn't want to go through redoing the shocks, changing the spring rates. It needs to go up to like a 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 in the front, and then I can lean them back over a little bit. But I think that the front articulation and the front suspension movement should be fine. We retained all of the stuff. We don't have any appreciable bump steer or axle sway. It's got about what you would expect. Like, you see that angle of the shock, and we get a little bit straighter. Because I believe a kingpin, one of the kingpins is off about 1 millimeter relative to the other one. It's not really a problem. Luckily, I had those aluminum pieces because I could copy those. And again, it's just 10 millimeter Delrin. And then that allowed me to sit these flat. They've got a little notch in them right there. The little notch goes right here. The body actually kind of clicks over it. They're nice and flat now. They fill out the body pretty well. You see another thumb screw there. And that thumb screw is what I consider my biggest personal victory in the finishing and workup of Scarlett to get her to where she is now. This is... Can we lean that? Can we lean that? Yeah, there we go. So she's sitting on some sort of, well, one of those Amazon scale accessory packages. I put her in a seat. I put a drift steering wheel in her hands because she's actually much smaller than the guy G.I. Joe molds. She doesn't even come to the top of the seat. She's a petite little lady. And she fits in the narrow seats very well. These seats were sent in by the gentleman behind the CJ7 build, behind the MB41, from a far away land of Israel via AliExpress. He sent in these seats. There's still one in the package. I think Shenzhen Fengfeng Model Technology Company Limited. I think they're mixed racing because, well, let me just cut this one open so that I can lose the pieces later. I'm pretty sure, let's see if we can get a focus on it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it says mixed racing. That looks like mixed racing to me. These are great. These are absolutely great. The plastic has got a little bit of flex to it. They come in two pieces with a number of mounting holes in the bottom, and then you put two flathead screws in, and they're actually reclinable. They're light. These are really nice. And more importantly, 2 holes here, 2 holes in the sides, 2 holes down here. Which means I'm surprised they didn't put a hole up there, so you can't do a proper 5-point harness without drilling your own hole. We're not concerned, really, about 5-point harnesses here. You can see right here, that's all you can see of it. She's got a single, around her very skinny waist, she has a single zip tie through the two, and she doesn't move. She doesn't move at all. And it's a sideways RC, something like that. Yes. SRC. I had ordered some steering wheels. I had forgotten how small drift cars are, so that steering wheel came, and I was like, that's too small to use with anything. Where's the non-drift steering wheel? Yeah. Like, ordinarily when you buy a crawler wheel, like that's much big. It won't fit in her dainty hands. So the sideways RC drift steering wheel, I probably will attach a column. I was searching frantically to find a dash among my spare parts that would fit in this, but the nose of the FJ40 is so narrow that, like, I have a leftover. When you buy a Marlin, it comes with a dash, even though the body is an RTR, so it already has a dash installed. The dash is way too wide. It's as wide as the body. It would have to be like 3/4 of an inch narrower. A plea to the folks out there, because I still haven't taken my 3D printer out of the box. If anyone out there has 3D printed a dash to fit this particular FJ body, let me know. Let me know. We can work something out, because I would love to have a dash in there and maybe have the steering column just notch up into the dash. I think I want to have her hold. Anyway, so she's sitting on a cooler, which is from the Amazon. You can see red on the top. Like I said, nothing is finished. She's sitting on a cooler because I set her into the vehicle, and then I looked at the spacing, and I was like, she needs to sit on something that's 1.5 inches tall. And I looked around, I was trying to find pieces of wood, plastic, anything. There was bins, boxes. I'm like holding everything up. And then I was like, what about those scale things that you never used on anything, because we don't stick a ton of scale parts on anything? So it had a bunch of like little pieces on the top. It had like the handle, everything. Take it to the belt sander, sand that off, cut a notch in the side. What's inside the cooler? Well, the receiver and all the wires are inside the cooler. So it is seat riser slash, there's all the wires going in, seat riser slash electronics box slash receiver box. And it weighs next to nothing, because it's just a little red styrene box. And I didn't trust the weight of the seat and her and everything else just to be attached to a lid that just basically interference fit snaps on. So drilled a hole through the lid, straight down all the way through the bottom, put a thumb nut on the bottom. This is mounted to these 2 screws. So there's no way the bottom of the box is coming off, and then the top. I am inordinately proud of how cleanly that went together. That could not have gone better. And the single point pintle mount in the front is one of the easiest body mounts you'll ever do, particularly when you have to notch out the front of the body to fit in between the frame rails. So moving the body back 15 millimeters allowed me to move the bumper all the way back to where the lower holes are actually sandwiching the rails. So I turned one down narrower. I turned these 3 just out of, it's basically aluminum turnbuckle material that was from off of other vehicles, axials and what have you. And I don't believe in aluminum lowers, so they make perfect chassis spacers. Would I have liked black? Sure. Did I only have silver? Yes. Threw some shackles on it. Yes. And then this is the stock default de facto battery tray that I make for pretty much everything. I have a couple little pieces of wood and pieces of aluminum. It's right here. I'm doing the thing. It sticks in a little drawer called BOSOA, battery on servo on axle. What I do is I go to the table saw every once in a while, and I cut out a bunch of these. First, I cut this dimension, and then I just rip them into strips. I clean up the strips. I've only got maybe half a dozen of them left, because when a rig gets built, it usually ends up with one of these. And then inside the bin, there are 4 little pieces of wood. Servo on axle 1, servo on axle 2, servo on axle 3, and then this one says Z, because it is the exact size of a Z2200 battery. And it has holes in it. You'll notice holes in it. So what we do is, here's a little behind the scenes on where that comes from. It's so easy. I have a vise. This says SOA1. You line it up with the top. Take that away. Bend it. There it is. We got a battery. Our battery's not going to go dead halfway through the Ghost Ride of this. Put it in the vise. Bend it. Take it out of the vise. You put this one up against the bend you just made. Set that down on the vise. Bend it. You get this shape. Right? You see a little high and a little back. Piece 3 goes in vertically like this in between the 2. You make 2 pencil marks. You take it over to the saw. You cut those off. And then because it is 16th inch aluminum, it is not super thick, you need to drill 2 holes. When you go to drill those holes, what it wants to do is bend itself into oblivion. You put the fake Z battery into it. Put it like this. And then you drill the holes, and then that's the backer for drilling the holes. That's why it's got holes in it. They tend to come out in the same spots most of the time, fortunately. So that's it. That's how we make a servo and axle battery adapter, which we now use pretty much for servos in every position and mounting application. It's clean, it's simple, it's very light. It fits 1500s and 2200s. I had a half sheet of 16th inch aluminum, and I still have most of it. We've cut it into little pieces. It gets used a lot, stuff like this. Anyway, I think the geometry is going to work. Oh, yes. If someone were to ask, did you put it on the scales? Yes, I did. We will do our usual thing. Yeah, there's plenty of room. We're going to put it right up over there. 3,370 grams, 3.3 kilos. So she's in that, was that 7 pounds? Up around 7 pounds? I should have gotten a calculator. We can get it 3.37 times 2.2. 7.5 pounds. So we're in that 7.5 pound range. The inserts then, based on that, might be a little soft. They might be a little over soft. We might get a little bit of over collapse, a little too much bag, but we will see. We will see. I have not run these. These are the Revolt RC inserts over from Belgium, made for Canyon Trail, but they fit a deep was just fine. 3,370 grams. 50-50 on the cross weight. We only have a 10 gram differential between the front right, right, left, and the front left, right, right. So cross weights, obviously, they go like this. So front right, rear left. Yeah. This is 1690 and this is 1680. So we shouldn't have weird behavior maneuvering one way versus maneuvering the other. 60-40 on the weight split. 2008 up front, 1361 in the rear. 60-40 is not a bad... 60-40 is honestly ridiculous when you consider what that weighs. This would probably be like 63-37, but we've got weight back there. All I'm imagining, here's what I'm hoping for. We're hoping against hope that big old, that axle. There are also brass rings in the front wheels. Of that 3370, oh man, it's gotta be like 1,300 grams just in the front axle and the front wheels and the front everything. So we're talking 40% unsprung weight if we were only talking about this. So it's really going to help keep that front end down. How's that 38% going to do? Well, based on recently driving the VRD, I can tell you the turning circle is going to be ridiculous, because this thing is just going to scrub those rear tires. That question mark is still hovering. How will Louise Champs handle 38%? I don't know. What I do know is, I shouldn't have unplugged this. What I do know is this. We're just going to set it over the top. Those of the live stream. Oh, two things. We got to get outside. Two things from the live stream that we need to mention. The OD3 sounded like, I don't know, like a shaker. It sounded like it was filled with sand. And I had mentioned, once it's all together and has load on it, it won't. That's full throttle. That's wide open. That's as loud as it gets. So it is quiet. So while it is not fun to work on, it's going to do the things gearbox-wise. And someone in the live stream mentioned that they bought one of these and it had overspray film on both the inside and the outside. There's a little rip. It's right... There's a little rip right here, and there's a little rip right there. See the little rip? Look what I can do. Yeah, overspray film is on the inside, which, you know what, is absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine, because this body's getting painted on the outside, so it doesn't matter. So what I will do is I will use the included masks to mask the windows. I will paint the entire body on the outside. Then I will carefully peel the masks off, remove the overspray mask on the inside, put the outer masks on the inside, and then just paint the inside black. And then we're done. And then we're done, and then we're done. So she is going to be militarily inspired. We're going to go for as much I haven't done a patina body with a lot of weathering on it in a while. So I want to do this one weathered, but not traditionally patinaed, because I want to sand on this as little as possible. It's paper thin. I feel like more coats of paint are going to make the thing stronger. I don't think that I forgot to mention anything. If there's something that I am overlooking, let me know in the comments below. I am questioning myself as to whether or not I should just bring, because we're going to. These have blues in them. We know comp pins absolutely do the thing on 38%. Look at that dent. If we are flailing and pawing for purchase on the champs, honestly, my first instinct would be to pull the 20% out of here and drop it down to 18 or drop it down to 28. I don't have an 827 on me, but I can get one and drop it down to 28. We will find out. We will find out. And that's it for that. We're going to take it out. We're going to drive her. We're going to see what parts and pieces stay together and what parts and pieces fall off. She sits down real great. The spring rates were pretty much chosen at random. Let me get the body set. She goes. But it's not full collapse. I don't want anybody to think that she's just dropping to the stops. She has down travel, front and rear. So she sits super level. She can go super, super, super slow. Good old Fusion SE 1200. She gets that usual squat. We're just going to push Susan out of the way. She's got a little bit of torque twist on flat ground, but I don't know how much of that is overdrive, underdrive related. I want it to work just like this. Unfortunately, what I feel like is that perhaps there's a potential that my expectations are too high. We'll try to temper them. That tire looks bagged just right. Let's get out to rocks. We'll run through a sort of a loosely modified tire test protocol, and we'll see what we can do. And then we'll see, and in doing so, we will see potentially what we have done. Scarlet, Ghost Ride. We haven't seen a Ghost Ride in a minute. Everything keeps getting painted. Let's do the thing and see if she can indeed do the thing. Shayna M. O'Hara, to the rocks with you.
Did y'all think I forgot what day it was because I didn't open with a welcome back, everybody? Welcome to another Wheelin Wednesday. Ordinarily, Wheelin Wednesday never goes into the shop. We are still, always, now, and forever tinkering with the Wheelin Wednesday format. I will say this. From the drive back, she's just a dust cloud. The rear tires are dragging to such a degree. This tire, here's what I think. Here's what I'm remembering. You need a tire with a different traction profile than this. The rear tire has so much grip that the front can't pull it up over things. Well, let's see. We'll shutter. We get past it. We go back wide right. I feel the ends fighting. Boy, she's got that stability though. And let me try a little more. Okay, a little more wheel speed will kind of overcome it. We can get them to break loose. Suspension looks good. I'm not hearing much at all in the way of angry Lexan noises. She is stuck like glue to the ground. Okay, let me see. Let's see here. We'll go like this. Yeah, it's pretty tight. That's the thing. The big overdrive. Big overdrive will get you. I tend to like about 18%. Let's see, won't belly break over. Little more sauce. Yeah, that hop. She's definitely not doing any lifting, but It really feels like it's dragging the rear end. Is the 8% in this configuration? Is this something that we need to try a split? Different tires front and rear? The Champs in the front really feel like they're doing it. They're getting it done. That 38% is going to turn well in, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it feels so stable. Whenever you see that little hop, 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 that's the front not being able to overcome the drag from the rear. It's basically 40% dig all the time. But then you turn that turning circle and you're like, can I give it up? I don't know. Straight up here. You can also, I don't know, the noise cancellation on the mic is really good. Every once in a while I can hear a little that's rear lug. It's rear lug noise all the way. I don't hear any slipping from the front. And with 38%, she should be a really good descender. That right through there was super flat. So I can already say right now, the Champs with the revolts in them are not doing badly. They're doing well, but we come back around to that, is it hyper optimized? Or super or hyper optimized. I don't think it is. A little bit of rub in reverse. Yeah. Her snap out point when she decides that she no longer wants to be upright, it's gonna come on so late. I never like side hilling on a ghost ride, but we're gonna get there anyway. This body is probably here for a good time and not for a long time. All right, that 38%, we are gonna have to find, there is a wire of width that I think I can hit staircase and get it. I don't think this is just gonna be approach it however you like and get up, because we have basically too much rear traction. I don't think, like right here. Ooh, okay, hold on, wait, hold on, stay with me. Nope, that bobble back, all that hopping right there is an inability to get the rear end to pull over. It's good. She can make this. I just don't think she's going to be able to make it every time. All right, let's try a little more left, because if you get pushed right, it's hard to get out of that. I want to get that driver rear as close over as I can. Nope, there's the shuttle again. There's a line here. Okay, real slow. We don't want to see that front end slide over. We're not through it yet. Yeah. It's not the tire. No, and by what I mean is, it's the tires. This is not the tire. She does everything so slowly. I like that. Okay, trying higher up over here. Right there. Driver rear is not helping us. And we fall right back. Wider. There it is. There it is. She's got it. Oh, right there. Watch this right here. Up. Up. Slide. We're getting out gripped. We basically need a rear tire that has less grip. That's not framed for super great. There we go. Because what we have is our forward drive is being hampered. The front, how do you state this? The front wheels pull hard enough, but they don't pull hard enough to overcome how hard the rear tires are pulling. Because of the weight distribution and the way the geometry is set up, she can't lift the nose. It's basically impossible to lift the nose. There's no wheel speed to the rear. So I think the 38% can work here. I think there's more positive to the 38 than there is negative. We just either need 4 completely different tires, or we need a rear pair that doesn't quite grip as hard as the fronts. Yeah, I would like a quicker response at really low throttle level. And this she's really got to muscle that rear end around. So I'm trying to focus more on all the other things. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to limit. We'll get up Undertaker. We'll do the side hill. And then we'll swap in the pins. And then we'll try a more brief foray through the same set of problems. She's really good at the low. Really good. Not surprising on a 1200. Oh, right there. That right there, not doing the thing that we wanted to do, but also simultaneously not doing the thing that we expect it to do. We take out that underdrive with the same tires. We change that torque split. That's straight over the back. Straight over the back. So here's the thing. On these tires in this configuration, she's doing something, which is behaving as if her wheelbase is much longer than it is. Because a longer wheelbase trends, do it. Then right there, 38%. A little more wheel speed pulls it through. A longer wheelbase is going to give you more stability when climbing. Ascending is going to be more stable because it's more difficult to flip over a longer object. Put a playing card on the ground, put your finger under it, and flip it over. Put a sheet of plywood on the ground. Even if the sheet of plywood weighed the same as the playing card, and try to flip it over. It requires more force. So not a sheet of plywood. Put a playing card the size of a sheet of plywood. Does that sound better? Do you have one of those? I thought everybody had one of those. Overall, I'm really happy with how she's performing. As soon as my brain, it was a borderline shower thought where my brain was like, yeah, but didn't Deepwoods not do well on big overdrive? And I was like, oh, what are you talking about? I think it was Diablo. During the Diablo was sitting at around, he was 30%. He was over 30%. But her stability, her lateral stability is ridiculous. And the inserts do not feel overly soft nor overly firm. They're Goldilocking in there pretty much. I think the simplest way, I think what we would go at first is attempt to just run a split. Deepwoods front and something else in the rear. Because I'm liking the amount of pull that we're getting off the fronts. Oh, and in some terrain, we're not feeling the so planted in the front end. In some areas, not feeling that split at all. Oh, that was pretty good. Let's see if we can't swing it around town here. I really want to see what the transfer looks like. Oh my goodness. Oh, the more we go, the closer those tires get to being the thing. And they were chosen initially because they just look the part. Yeah, Crossweight doing all the things. She is absolutely planted. Staying in it. There it goes. There it goes. It's a little too long. Stayed in a little too long. But I was basically full lock uphill until the attempted and failed catch. The more torque split you have, underdrive, overdrive, generally the less good you are at side hills. Now on this particular side hill, I think that on this amount of side hill, I think the rear end is gonna slide enough. I don't even think she lifted that front tire. Oh. Is it that we do right there? Right there? All right. I don't mean this in the terms that she doesn't feel maneuverable or like that her motions are slowed. I talk about how rigs can drive heavy and drive light relative to their weight, right? If you've got a rig that's 9 pounds, but you feel like it's really responsive, it drives light even though it isn't. She drives heavy. She feels super planted all the time. Even when a wheel is lifting, I feel like I can catch it. Did I look up at that airplane? Yeah, and I couldn't see it. Oh, it's directly above me. Don't look at airplanes. You come across right here, I don't know if the pin, like look at that tire up, but there's nothing that feels loose. We got too low down on the hill. So I'm gonna try the real high strike here. No, wait, hold on. Not that high. There's still this little split thing. That slide was, okay. No steer. Yeah. You know what that is? Infuriating. I wish they were worse because they're so close that the temptation is just leave them. I have hunks. Deepwood's front hunks rear? Interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. That's interesting because I think I have one pair of hunks not in use. Interesting. I'm gonna take that under consideration. Before we do that, let's throw some pins on there. Basically try the same type of shenanigans again. I just want to see how the feel is different on a tire with a responsive, with a torque profile that I think we're a little more familiar with in this configuration, the 38%. All right, well, I don't think these look nearly as good. I ain't mad at them. If anything, they look a little more Yo-Joe than the Deepwoods. Like I could see these coming on, if this rig was G.I. Joe, I could see these tires on it. Yeah, it's a pin. It's a pin. A lug tire versus a pin is starting a step down. Some of the plantedness is gone. I'm gonna put a Revolt RC dual stage 3D printed insert specifically tailored to a specific tire a couple steps above an Injora silicone. Also, the Deepwoods are a lot wider, so there's much more of a stable feeling to it. She does drive a little lighter now. She drives a much lighter now. Okay. Almost got that to pull right there. Yeah, a little more lifty, and we're not talking about, if anything, this combo might weigh a couple grams more than the combo came off because 3D printed inserts usually in that, like, I don't know, 20 to 30 gram range for the insert, maybe 35 grams. These are like 70 grams a piece. So we have more weight low. It's distributed very differently. We have a different PSI going. But yeah, those little 38% hesitations brought about by the rear wheels, they're not here now. Turn in is sharper because they're skinnier. which means we've got a narrower wheel track, so we've got a little more responsiveness. She is going to be among the very top of excellent descenders. And if prior experience is any indication of future event, we should have less trouble here. Yeah, you see, something about the pin. It doesn't fight. Do I wish that there was an Endura pin with just a little bit of side lug on it? Yeah. Am I afraid it would ruin the experience? No. But, yeah. Some tires do not like huge underdrive, and the turn in is much sharper, significantly sharper. She does not feel as stable. Yeah, but the forward drive is dramatically improved because the rears aren't holding the fronts back as much. We have more maneuverability. So we have more maneuverability and increased forward drive, which means, I mean, it's going to be hard not to just swap rims and put comp pins on here. Do I like the look as much? No. Are they working better? Well, yeah. Do they simultaneously look kind of the right size, but also really undersized? I think they do, yes. So right here we had a little problem, and we do not have a problem. Going to drop that front end, but we can use positioning to move it past. Remember we had the tail stand? These are not going to tail stand. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, for those interested, this is why every tire gets tested on Lord Pennaby or Baseline, with the exception of things that are too big, because we need to isolate those variables. 38% overdrive is an enormous variable, or torque split, I should say. It's tough to overcome. Some tires are distinctly better at it than others. Anything down around 12%, pretty much any tire is going to manage. Yeah, that's pulling hard. That's pulling really hard. It's a shame. It's two shames here. We're going to double shame. The first shame is they are what they are, the way they look. At that angle right there, corner of frame, I don't mind it. Would I prefer the Swamp Claw on here? I think the Swamp Claw would look great. That's the second shame. These are S4 compound and the Swamp Claw is S3. The Swamp Claw is not going to come near these in terms of drive. Get that side lug over. Oh, get out of here. Okay, we've got that. Okay, we hooked the cage. Oh, the maneuverability. Oy, oy, oy. You know, they say, it's like they added another gear. It's like we added 10 more degrees to the rack for the steering. And yes, in case anyone is hollering it, that is a component of the no side lug. Side of the tire doesn't grab, it lets you slide. So you get more turn in. And in instances like this, if the side lug is grabbing right there, it could over grab and send us over. So the question is, do I feel more stable on a pretty substantial side hill on the pin relative to the champs, the Louise / Durtrax Deepwoods? No. No, the Louise felt hyper planted right here. These feel good, and here's about where the Louise cut out. What's our transfer gonna look like? There, no, same exact spot. But I've been here before. I've been on this show before, so I knew how and where to catch it. Here's the thing. It's definitely better enough. And it's the worst case scenario because it's not what I want. Zobazu, who would arguably be a cousin or brother to Scarlett here, as he is kind of a similar layout, but running hunks, He was built and configured around those hunks because I loved the way they looked so much. I don't love the way that the Deepwoods / Champs look enough to sacrifice that degree of performance. These are better. And the narrowness, and apparently, even though I'm a side lug guy, a bona fide side lug aficionado, I'm not missing it that much. I enjoy the turn in. Ooh, yep. That hold down was pretty nutty. Okay, I'll try the same thing again. See, I can see and feel the rear end sliding over a little. You steering to position the front. Is it going to lift that nose? No. It's every bit as stable. And I don't have I have zero problems putting this set of wheels of tires and inserts on here, because the tires are $26 and the inserts are $20. There's definitely more money in the set that's sitting over there on the bench, and we can put those on somebody who needs it more. I want to stick with the 38%. I don't own a VRD. The only opportunity I have to get into this realm of this much underdrive overdrive is running big overdrive on a Phoenix. But fixed overdrive at this percentage, this much. And it's not even the laziness of not wanting to change out the gear. It's that I want to get used to it. I want to get my head around it. And we're already, you know how we know we're already too far into Wednesday shenanigans. We're already getting stupid. Thought I knocked that wheel off. I think the insert just slid way over. The increased amount of forward drive, yeah, it's a pin. Here's what we'll do. We'll go into paint and we'll paint it, and I'll do the weathering and everything, and then we'll revisit it on the pin and see how we still feel about the pin. Like, looking at it right there, it's kind of fine. It's kind of okay. I will take that little bit of performance and that added turn in and stuff in exchange for the better look. I think the Deepwoods looked better, but I don't think they looked better enough to give up that amount of performance. These are doing great. These are just blues, unmodified, uncut. She drives more responsive, drives lighter. We're moving things around. Like, I don't think that the overall forward drive out of the comp pin is actually higher. It's just that the rears aren't fighting the fronts anymore. The comp pin is surprisingly, well, that's why all pin tires are banned for scaled competition. Like, right through here feels absolutely planted on the Deepwoods, not as planted on these, but see that little lateral slide, the rear end sliding down a little? And then I can reposition right here without really upsetting the rig all the way. Crossweight, just pushing that front end down. It's too good this way. Pins for the win again. And I get it. I get people that won't run them. A tire should look like a tire, as people have said. Yeah. But I think sort of a philosophy that we have here is we throw the better tire, the better combo. Why is this not on Lampreys? Because I don't think it needs it. I don't think this is the optimal tire. I think it works better than the Deepwoods, so the lazy part of me is like, just throw those on there. We need to audition others. We need to try hunks. We need to try, there's a set of tusks in there. There's a lot of things we could try because we don't know till we know. And let's just put it pure, simple, and plain. My sample size of tires on 38% overdrive is pretty small. We know these work. We've seen them work in more than one occasion. Boy, does she land on her wheels a lot. And it's not as if we're wanting for forward grip on these. Can you get over that? Yeah, you can. Can you get up the backside of this or you'll bump her in? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's doing great. We're great. We're doing great. I hope you're doing great. I want to thank you for stopping here on a sort of out of the ordinary installment of Wheelin Wednesday. Sometimes I get ahead on the content production, and we got to get in where we fit in. So I thank you for joining us. We've got some things to think about, and what I think I'll do is I'll step back for a couple days and think about it. I'll let you all help me think about it. So hit me up in the comments below, or on the live stream on Friday, wherever you, Instagram, wherever you feel like. And in between now and then, please one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. I didn't mention it before. I should mention it now here in the last few seconds. This is a Yeah Racing steering wheel. It has a super comfy foam. I ordered one because I wanted to find out what the, I guess we would call it spline, is for a Radio Link radio. And it is Futaba. So if you see an aftermarket, these are real. These screws are real. You put a little plastic adapter on, and then you put this wheel. And it's like 13 bucks. The foam feels really good. It's nice. We can't get KIM 134s, so it's a bummer. So we do what we can. So yeah, if you're looking for an aftermarket steering wheel, if you see a wheel out there and it says it fits Futaba, and you have a Radio Link, that wheel will fit. And more importantly, so right here, channel 1 is steering. So we go, oh, we're caught up too much. Hold on. Can we get here? Yeah, we can, hold on, right. Focus. See, we can go to 100%. That's all we need is to be able to go to 100%. It's trimmed out a bunch on the other side because I couldn't get the horn centered. So we're not going to 100% on the other side because we don't need to. But as long as you get, I tested it with the rig on the ground, and you can get to 100% throw both sides, which means that the little adapter isn't stopping it ahead of time. Anyway, we've doubled up the goodbye. She still feels appropriately stable on these. That turn in and the responsiveness is welcomed. I got to put her up on her yoga block because otherwise I'm going to just be like, just mount the comp pins and be done with it. Yeah, look at that. She's doing all right. Ghost ride successful on this one. I'm standing by that. 100% successful. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time. And away we go out of frame. Until next time.